Alright, we're ready over here and I hope you are. It's my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of Editors Forum. I am Rita Omodia. And of course on this program we get to discuss front burners and issues, top stories that occurred during the week. And today we have quite a lot on our plate as we bring to you top stories, facts and analysis, constructive criticisms of stories that made headlines during the week. Once again, my pleasure to welcome you to today's edition of the show. And of course, I'm not alone. I have my analysts in the house who are ready, hot as it is, to give us the analysis on the issues we have today. So thank you very much, Emeka Madnago, for joining us on the show.
Good afternoon, viewers. Happy New Year, everybody.
Afternoon, smile for us now. All right, we also have...
They smile for Nigeria now.
Yes, so we have to smile. Okay, we also have Steve Aya on the show. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and good afternoon and Happy New Year to everybody.
Same to you. And I will not say another Aya, but just add in. So we have Victor Anya. I usually call him the people's man. Thank you for joining us.
Many thanks for having me once
Safe
again.
to say Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year to all Lagosians and Nigeria, wherever we are being watched all over the world.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, quickly, we'll kick start with the issue of politics. Yes, we know that over time, for the past 2 weeks, we've been having reviews, analysis, retrospect, a peep into 2020. But somehow we are having a bit of peep into 2023, as of course President Muhammadu Buhari has enjoined Nigerian youth to be prepared for huge responsibilities as they will eventually take over the leadership of the country in the future. But earlier on in the week, we had the senior pastor of Lateran Assembly, Tunde Bakare, urging President Muhammadu Buhari to sustain his legacy by picking a successor before 2023. Now, the cleric in a live broadcast in his church on Sunday explained that by institutionalizing a system of succession, Buhari will join the league of strong world leaders like the late Deng Xiaoping of China, the late Nelson Mandela of South Africa, and Goh Chok-tong of Singapore. So somehow, other people would narrate it in the other way and say that he is calling on President Muhammadu Buhari to choose his successor. According to the cleric come politician, he said so that the legacies, the faithful legacies of President Muhammadu Buhari will be continued. And let's not forget that sometime on December 30th, we saw him also visit the presidential villa carrying a box of gifts to the president, though he refused to say what his visit was about. So I'll start with you, Emeka Madnago. Of course, we're already right from the 2019 elections. We're already talking about the 2023 elections. We have lots of stakeholders already giving their part in it. So what would you say concerning the issue of succession and Pastor Tunde Bakare's statement?
First of all, I must debunk the assertion that those three leaders picked their successors. It's not true. Deng Xiaoping didn't pick his successor. I mean, Deng Xiaoping, what he did, you know, he came in after Mao Zedong died.
Yeah.
And you know, during Mao Zedong's tenure, millions of Chinese died because he had, he ran China on a shoestring budget. He didn't travel, he never traveled abroad. He was a peasant teacher. And so a lot of people died. Now he shut off China from the rest of the world. But when he died, Deng Xiaoping quickly had to open up China to the world. And then what he did was that he now made China freer. He now went back to the same people that his predecessor was running away from. He went back to them. He opened up China and now set up a process of reform and openness, reaching out to the people. That is why today, that's why you see that China has had a succession of leaders who focused on building welfarist capitalism, if there's anything like that. So you now find out that today, China is talking about conquering absolute poverty. So many countries of the world today are deep in absolute poverty. But China is saying if they can take people out of the prison of absolute poverty, at least they can now gradually start building them up to certain levels of wealth. So China gradually began to embrace capitalism. Then he talked about Nelson Mandela. Did Nelson Mandela pick his successor? No, he said he was going to run for 1 term. But what he did was that he built young leaders. young South African leaders who had been, people like Thabo Mbeki, the current president Cyril Ramaphosa, you know, he built them so that there was a very rich, there was a rich pool of likely successors, not successor. He never intervened in the process.
He had successors.
And then again, he built an institution, which is what we'll be talking about. Pastor Tunde Bakare, with due respect to him, he missed it. We need strong institutions, not strong men, because strong men are prone to frailties. Strong men have emotions. Their wives can control them. Their wives can make them make mistakes. You know, but if we have strong institutions, look at INEC yesterday admitting that there were flaws in the electoral process in the 2019 election. But if we have a foolproof electoral process, if we have an independent judiciary, an independent National Assembly, if we have political office holders who respect the Constitution and who are ready to face censure, who are ready to be tried if they go against the Constitution, of course, you will build patriotism, nationalism. You will encourage as many Nigerians as possible to aspire to leadership positions at different levels, councillor, chairman, you know, and all of that. And too often, let me just quickly round up with this, too often, we focus on who is the president, overlooking who and who are going to the National Assembly. So at the end of the day, you find out that passing the budget becomes rocket science. You find out the kind of strange laws that come up. You even see more than half of the assembly not having sponsored any bill. A lot of them just go there to sleep, go on oversight functions, and then that's all. If you don't build strong institutions, and then the media as well, you must build an independent press.
All right.
An independent press, you must build an independent press. If you don't build virile institutions, I'm sorry, you can choose your successors for the next 200 years. They will just end up worse than you. They will keep failing.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Strong institutions and not strong men. Now to you, Steve Aya, and President Muhammadu Buhari, now as once again saying that the future is for the youths, and he said he will not contest with the 2023 elections and even any other elections. Now, with this statement of Bakare, now how would you analyze all this?
Very simple and straightforward. Let's get to 2023 first.
Okay.
The thing is that it is left for the Nigerian youth or young leaders in Nigeria to begin to make their voice count, to begin to talk out, to begin to comment on national issues and say it as it is, not because you are looking for one favor or the other. I'll give you an example of where I'm coming from. The present governor of Oyo State, Mr. Makinde, Sheyi Makinde, he was, throughout the reign of Ajimobi, you either get him on Facebook or on Twitter, where he was commenting on policies, on things that Ajimobi was. The ones that were right, he commended. The ones that were wrong, he spoke about it. He spoke against it seriously. Even as of then, he was not really aligned to any political party. A lot of people thought that the young man would probably go to APC so as to get the ticket. But of course, when he made the attempt and this so-called urge to pick a successor came in, he went to a political party that were ready to give him a ticket, and they have given him a ticket. And believe me, around the country today, I don't think there is any governor that is performing magic like what that young man is doing.
You said that you said youth should actively participate, but do you think there's a room for them to even actively participate?
See, the point I'm making is very, very straightforward. There is a room. Makinde use social media and other things. You don't really need to spend so much between now and 2023, but you just need to make your voice count.
What about the cost of nomination forms, even if you want to join the party?
When you get to that point, you will cross it. I mean, we have more than 80 political parties, and a lot of people secure presidential candidate forms from their political. I'm not sure some spend as much as 100 million to even get those party tickets. I mean, but if you make your voice count now, since everybody is talking about 2023 now, rather than developing the country. So if you start making your voice count now, in 2 years' time, I can assure you that you will be as popular as anybody.
Okay.
And you will make your voice count.
All right. Okay, so in other words, the youth should not sleep on their hours, but rather make their voices count. Of course, that's on the 2023 elections. While we still wait, well, in 2020, but somehow the stakes are already high for 2023 elections. Now, away from that, now still talking about the policies, we know that the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has sent a freedom of information request to President Muhammadu Buhari, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, 36 governors and their deputies, urging them to use their good offices to provide information on summary of the assets, specifically property and income contained in asset declaration forms submitted to the Code of Conduct Bureau, CCB, since the assumption of office. But the presidency spokesperson on Tuesday said there was no law that mandates President Muhammadu Buhari to declare his assets publicly. Now, the presidency was, of course, reacting to that statement, and he said, or rather the SERAP said, that declaration of assets was to stop corruption and other forms of illegal practices by so-called government officials. But the presidency is saying that he is not obligated to declare his assets publicly. Victor Aya, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I'm one of those Nigerians that have perceived this asset declaration as a mere waste of time. You cannot use it, yes, you cannot use it to fight corruption, in the sense that first, when you are going to office, you declare your asset. By the time you are leaving office, you are not compelled to declare your asset. So if you have acquired multiple assets at the time you were serving the country, how will people know whether you acquired those things legally or illegally? You are not bound to do that. And again, I have said it time without number that you can use your friends and brothers and sisters' name to even acquire assets. So what role is asset declaration playing in combating corruption? There was a story of a man that I heard about, that while this man was in government, whether as a president, I don't know the country now, whether here or another part of Africa, I don't know. He used his friend's name to acquire estates. And at the time he left office, he was troubling his friend to come and bring documents. And the friend willed those things to his children and committed suicide. How will that man be able to access those assets? So it's a waste of time. It doesn't curb corruption.
Then what? If you're saying it's a waste of time, then what can curb corruption?
What can curb corruption is that we have to get strong institutions. Strong institutions that are independent of other governor or president, especially president, because what we have today, it is only the president that has absolute power to direct all the institutions. And that is why people are afraid to talk. People are afraid to come out to say, okay, it is when there is crisis between politicians that suddenly issue of corruption come up. It is not so in other countries. How come that it is when there is crisis? Look at the issue of Shehu Sani. From 2015, when he was a good member of the party, there was nothing like corruption. The same thing with Saraki, when they left PDP and brought their forces and financial gains to APC to win power at that, to gain power at that time, there was not issue of corruption. Immediately he became a senior president at the detriment of other people. We had issue of corruption coming up. Is it only when there is disagreement that you see corruption? So that is not the way to fight corruption. So the institution must be left alone to fight corruption. And if the institutions are left alone, are independent, you will find out that former military head of state, former president, former vice president will be subjected to trial. The question I've often asked Nigeria is that why is it that in Nigeria it is only governors, it is only ministers and other appointees that are tried for corruption? Are they telling us that in Nigeria former military heads of state, former president, former vice are agents? Are they sense that they when they see corruption, when they see corrupt money, they don't like it? It is only governor and ministers and other appointees that are corrupt. How come that no former president in this country have been subjected to trial? How come that no former vice have been subjected to trial? How come that former military head of state have been subjected to trial? Nobody has been able to answer that question. And I'm pained by this situation. You cannot tell me that in a country that assume me Abacha did not die. Look at the humongous amount that is being recovered from one man. Since 1999, a period of 20 years now, one man, they have been recovering money from him. Okay, what of if the same searchlight is beam on former military heads. Do you know how much they might have stolen it to?
Okay.
So you can imagine the amount of money that would come out from all these people if they are subjected to trial, like have former governors, former deputy governor, former ministers are being tried. You could imagine the amount of money that will be recovered from them.
Okay,
just give me a minute. Let me back up Mr. Victor a little. You see, there is no way you can say a former head of state, a former military head of state or military leader, a former president, a former vice president is not corrupt. There is no way. You can't run away from it.
So why not be tried by
because of one institutions? The humongous amount they control in terms of security votes, which is unaccountable. They are not accountable to anybody.
But the law does not stop them.
Excuse me. That's where I'm going to. That's where I'm going to. If we have strong laws that will be able to checkmate that thing, then we can start from. We can have a small point. And I agree with Mr. Victor totally. You can't tell me that it is only the governors and ministers that are corrupt, that the president and the vice president and the military head of states are immune. They are not angels. We know them. We know what they have done.
Okay, talking about corruption here, let's move quickly to another topic here. As a Federal Capital Territory High Court in Maitama on Thursday convicted and sentenced the Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Rusewe, to jail for contempt of court. Now, the judge, Judo KK, who gave the order on Thursday, said Rusewe should be kept in the facility of the Nigerian Correctional Service in Kuje until he purges himself of contempt. And yesterday, he gave a press conference statement on this particular judgment in him. Let's take a look at that report, and we'll be right back. All right, we do apologize for that video hitch there, but what he actually said there was that what resulted in him being charged to court and consequently sentenced to jail was because he refused to sell the arts and culture, or rather art and craft village, to some people. It's been recalled that on the 9th of January, an FCT High Court in Maitama convicted and sentenced the DG to jail for contempt of court. Over to you, Victor Iron.
Yes, according to the reports I got over this issue, there's a company called Omar Khalif Limited. It's the one that is managing that place. Okay. And they took the DJ, they took Federal Capital Territory Ministry and other organizations to court because they wanted to take over that place. So when they took them to court, they gave a pronouncement of stay of execution. That means everybody should be where they used to be. But the DJ went to that place and sealed up that place. And that's what he's telling us, that there are some people who want to take over that place, which he did not want to happen.
Yeah.
So that is why they took him to court again, because once the court has made pronouncement that as a stay of execution, that look, stay where you are, don't tamper with this issue, because we have a case just like what we have in Kwara State now, whereby the Saraki family went to court, but because impunity reigns in Nigeria, the governor went to that place and demolished that place. That is a contempt of court, because the party to that issue to that case has already gone to court. So you're supposed to wait until the end of the dispensation of that case. The court must make pronouncement as to the outcome of that case before you can take any action. But the government just went and broke down that house, demolished that house. Exactly the same thing happened in this case of Russell, where we are talking about now. He overlooked the pronouncement of government and sealed up that place. So that is the issue, which it does not supposed to be, because if we are running a constitutional democracy, we have to wait for the court to make pronouncement. You don't take laws into your hands, and that is why some of us are against the way this government is ruling this country, because once a court has made pronouncement, you have to obey. If you don't want to obey, if you are not happy with the pronouncement or judgment, all you need to do is to appeal the judgment. You don't take laws into your hands, say you are so strong, and you say you are bigger than the society, you not take laws into your hands. It's not acceptable. Okay,
thank you very much. Of course, Victor Ayers once again reinstated that the rule of law supersedes. Well, we'll see how far that case goes with Russell. Now, let's go over to the issue of education now. On September 24, 2019, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, called on all prospective candidates of its 2020 UTME to acquire the National Identification Number. Now, the JAM spokesperson, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, said that the aim was to ensure that the biometric and other necessary details of a candidate were captured to check examination malpractice. And of course, we know that in different centers, a lot of students had to queue up for this specific NIN registration. But luckily, in responding to that, JAM immediately today has responded and said that the NIN requirement would not be necessary for the 2020 JAM, but rather it will be used for 2021. So let's go over to you, Emeka Madunago.
You see, just on a program yesterday, a radio program yesterday, we were talking about, how agencies like JAM, customs and all that have been declaring huge sums as internally generated, as a revenue they generated. And I asked a question: how effective, as a service delivery to the people being? Is it about money? That's why should agencies like JAM, Federal Road Safety Commission, be talking about having made huge money when their focus should be service delivery? And look at what happened today. Disaster. To the extent that candidates, prospective candidates were saying, we are alleging that some officials of the NIMC were asking them for bribes, 1,000, 1,500, 3,000 to, short circuit the registration. JAM oversees admissions to universities. Is it that JAM has now become incapable of foreseeing hiccups in his attempt to reform the process? Yes, it's good to try to reform the process, but in reforming the process, you don't end up destroying it. Look at what these young Nigerians, young Nigerians have been subjected to. For what? Sitting in the sun, for the whole day. These are children preparing for exams. You put their parents through the stress of getting their children to prepare for exams, then you put them through the stress again of post-UME, UTME, then you now put them again through the stress of paying the school fees, exorbitant fees and all that. Why do we like to punish ourselves in this country? I don't even know why that requirement of the NIN suddenly became necessary. It's not necessary. It's not going to check examination malpractice. Okay, quickly, Emeka Madunago. Why, instead of talking like this, let's take a look. Now, during the week, we saw that students were on the queue for the NIN registration. Let's take a look at that report, and we'll be right back.
Over time, it has been difficult for residents to procure the national identity number. Even those who have theirs, they have been waiting for years to get the national identity cards. With these new arrangements by JAM, applicants who seek to write the UTME this year have had one sordid tale or the other to tell. At the National Identity Management Commission's office in Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, a long queue of students are seen waiting to either register or collect their national identity numbers. The students lament how they have been on queue for several hours without any progress, despite leaving their homes very early and frequenting the NIMC's office. They vent out their frustrations.
I've been here for the past 3 days, but when I came at first, the queue were too much, and they weren't too attending to people. And as at yesterday, there were some incidents that happened, like it was really bad. How could they spray tear gas on people? What if people died?
For today, I've been here for close to 4 hours, but I've been coming since on Monday. At times, they won't answer us, they won't even look at our site itself. And at times, they are just taking people in. People will just be coming. Me that I woke up around after 3. People that wake up after 7, they will even enter before me.
We've just been queuing outside. Nobody has come to take care of our name or like tell us like, okay, the process is going on. We've just been here crowded. Actually, I came, I thought it's like a 20 minutes something because I done mine last year. But coming here now, I'm supposed to travel tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Commending the move by government to ensure that all Nigerians are registered, some legal practitioners have condemned the bottleneck being experienced in the registration process, noting that adequate strategies and structures should be put in place before new policies are promulgated. They call for better ways of making registrations and processes seamless.
Internet, you should be able to.
It's just unfortunate.
All right, of course, we're far looking at the time there, but you saw the students there complaining, some of them tear gas, and we know that that requirement was meant to be free, but just as Emeka rightly said, there were reports that there was extortion of students, people, even the officials, going by the back and asking for bribe for them to have a fast process of the NIN requirement. Now, quickly, Steve, I know you were talking about it. What's your view on this?
It's absurd. It's never done. Most of these children were born between 2002, 2001 and 2005 or 2006. When did we have national population census in this country? Around the same period. Around 2006. So you cannot tell, JAM cannot tell me that they cannot write to the National Population Commission and say, give us the average age of Nigerians from these people, from this period to this period. These children also have telephone lines, of which everybody has been subjected to register their telephone lines. So you can't still tell me that you cannot get, in fact, it's very easy for National NIA to get to these guys and obtain all these documents and have them and give people
instead of the stress,
instead of putting people through this stress. I don't know the reason why we do a lot of duplication of things. Okay, what is the national ID card going to do to a student who is seeking for university admission? Is the national ID card going to facilitate his admission? Is it not his brain that he needs to sit down and write the exams? Or is that a requirement, major requirement for admission? I mean, it's just crazy. People, it's the same thing that you have banks doing. I come with my money, I want to open an account, you are telling me to get a national ID card. If all Nigerians don't have national ID card, will they be in business?
Okay, quickly, Emeka.
Well, just to buttress what you're saying, do you know, now, online education is very, very popular. You have the National Open Universities Commission and National Open Universities, now. And not everybody goes through JAM these days to get into the university. There are people running programs, online programs with different universities around the world. And they don't have to go and queue in the sun to get an NIN. So I think JAM should get its acts right. This desperation to be seen, to be doing what isn't to be engaged in what isn't your primary function. We can now see that thing is affecting the ability of JAM to focus on its core mandate. You even find out that how many of these children are going to get admitted to universities, polytechnics and colleges of education? How many of them? Has JAM been able to work with these higher institutions to increase their carrying capacity, which is a major problem? You are subjecting little children, to such stress. Instead of you to focus on the core issues, on the major issue of ensuring that the admission process is seamless, and ensuring that there are enough institutions that there are enough spaces
to admit them
in the institutions to admit them. Let me tell you, around the world, we've had cases of exam malpractices. In China, parents have their children to cheat. In the US, in different places. And these are places that have documented national registration. And yet people got involved in malpractices. So I think JAMB should get his act together.
All right, thank you very much. Well, just to note, NIN's full meaning is National Identification Number, which contains 11-digit numbers, and it is now compulsory. Well, now we have it in 2021 that for the requirement of 2021 JAMB registration procedures. In other words, for you to register for JAMB as from 2021, as announced today, you have to register for your NIN. Now, away from that, to another matter that's affecting Nigerians is the issue of electricity tariff. Now, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has said that the electricity tariffs being paid by consumers will increase in April this year. And it said the order was issued to reflect the impact of changes in the minor review variables in the determination of cost-reflected tariffs and relevant tariff and market shortfalls for 2019 and 2020. In other words, what they're saying is that as from 2020, what you pay, the tariff that you pay for your electricity, for your power supply, would increase. And of course, a lot of Nigerians have also kicked against this attitude of the neck. Now let's go to you, Victor Aya. I know everybody uses light because I know we have a lot of business people there. So what would you say to this? Like we've not even had a stable power supply, and now we are having increase in electricity tariffs.
Well, those disco, they are right according to their act.
Okay.
Which says that I think every 5 months, every 5 years, they should increase their tariff.
Yeah.
I know they will be very quick to do that. But the other part of the act that says that all Nigeria should be metered, they will ignore that one. But the one that will enable them to collect more money, they are quick to do so. That is the kind of country we find ourselves in. And why do they succeed? It's because of our docility. We don't fight, we don't struggle. You will see that by the time they will implement it, all of us will begin to pay. Nobody will go out for demonstration. Nobody will send it. Just complain as we talk like this. We talk on radio, talk on television, write in newspaper. Then we forget about it. Then we begin to pay, and that is why they are getting power. If not, the same act that set up the discos, which empowers them to increase tariff every 5 years or 4 years, according to the act, says that you must meter everybody. Have they done that? Have they given us meter? They have not done that. The issue of estimated billing is still there, and they will never meter us. Why? Because they make more money by giving estimated bills. If they have meter today, the huge amount of money they are getting from the customers, they will not get it, and that's why they have overlooked that aspect, pursuing increase of tariff. As I have said before, they will have their way because we are so quiet. If we were to be other countries now, you will see demonstration everywhere. If we were to be other countries, even this NIA you talked about now, which is not relevant to registration of JAMB, you would have seen protests everywhere. But we just took it up. The students will go there and they suffer and complain. At the end of the day, they continue to suffer. That is our problem. As long as we cannot unite to confront government, there are a lot of abnormalities will continue to suffer. So it will not end.
Okay, well, reactions are still continuing on this, as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has also rejected the proposed increment of electricity tariff in the country. And in a series of tweets, he said that it is the right time to increase electricity rates is when the proposed amendment to the Act criminalizing estimated billing is signed into law. He promised to meet with the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, as well as other stakeholders, to ensure the proposed increase was made on a practical basis. And that, of course, is from the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, also kicking against the electricity tariff. Now, away from electricity, politics, education, now let's go to another matter at hand, and of course, that is the issue of security. As you know that on Thursday, January 9, 2020, governors of Nigeria's 6 southwest regions, that is Ogun, Osun, Ekiti, Oyo, Ondo, and Lagos, launched the Western Nigerian Security Network called Operation AMOTEKUN. And of course, this was in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Let's take a look at that report and we'll be right back.
The initiative was the outcome of a series of security summits held across the region following the spate of incessant killings by suspected Fulani herdsmen, kidnapping, armed robbery, banditry, and other violence in the southwest. The southwest governors, in conjunction with the Dawn Commission, having considered the recommendations of the security meeting held in Ibadan, came up with the idea of regional security outfits. Speaking at the event, the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and the Ekiti State Governor, Kayode Fayemi, and the chairman, Southwest Governors Forum, who is also the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, lauded the initiative, adding that the initiative is not to separate the region from other parts of the country.
For us, we do not want anyone to misconstrue or misinterpret what is happening here. The conception of AMOTEKUN is that we would operate on a state-by-state basis. Osun AMOTEKUN is not going to come and operate in Oyo AMOTEKUN space.
I cannot predict the exactitude of where this unfortunate disturbance will take place. Hence, we felt that a combined effort of all of us will be very necessary. It will save us from all this banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, armed robbery, herdsmen and farmers conflict, clashes for ritual killings, and cybercrime.
They maintain that the creation of the outfit is to ensure sanity and security of life in the region. So in their separate remarks, the governor of the state of Osun, Boyega Oyetola, who was represented by his deputy, Boyega Alabi, and the host governor, Seyi Makinde, declared that the socio-economic development of the southwest region require high level of security, hence the essence of AMOTEKUN.
The outfit is a further fulfillment of the constitutional responsibility of governments as custodian of the security and welfare of the people. This constitutional role is a parameter for measuring the degree of responsibility and efficiency of government.
It is our priority to ensure that both indigenes and settlers living within the boundaries of our various states can carry out their legitimate activities in a secure environment.
Also, the Yoruba leader, Professor Banji Akintoye, and the
Alright, so welcome back. We're still on Editors Forum, exclusive to Galaxy Television, and there we have it. The 6 Southwest governors taking the bull by the horn in tackling insecurity in Nigeria, and of course they have launched the Operation AMOTEKUN. Of course, we had the governors talking about what the operation entails, but we would note that the Lagos State Governor was not available, and of course the State Governor Dapo Abiodun was not available at this launch. Now, of course, there's been a lot of reactions on this issue. We have the Northern youths blowing hot over the Southwest security outfits, and they said that it is a threat to national peace and security. They also stressed that the new security outfit is in the same league with the prescribed indigenous people of Biafra. Victor Aya, we have Operation AMOTEKUN now in motion.
Well, to some extent, it's a good development.
Okay.
But the only query I have with the system is this: do they have the power of coercion? They don't have the power of coercion in the sense that they are not going to be armed. Though the former commissioner of police in Lagos State, that is Mr. Woshoni, who is now senior assistant, special assistant to the governor for Osun State on security, did say that the members of the AMOTEKUN will be able to carry their guns. But if we consider the scale of insecurity we are having in the country today, we have herdsmen that are moving about with AK-47 guns. We have bandits and all that are going about with sophisticated weapons. How can the members of AMOTEKUN be able to restrain the activities of these people I've just mentioned? So if you don't have the power of coercion as a security agency, you are wasting your time. You have power to arrest. You know that the Constitution empowers you to arrest. I have power to arrest. But if I don't have the power of coercion, it is the power of coercion that makes you to be able to be effective. And that's why a small boy, as a military man, can slap you and you not retaliate because he is holding a gun. Because you know that if he shoots you, that will be the end of your life. But you will have a security system that does not empower the people. How are they going to be able to contend and contain these marauding people that they are trying to contain? It's not going to help. And one thing I have seen in this country is that we like to deceive ourselves. Instead of going full-fledged to demand for state police, we are coming up with all these things that cannot effect change in the security architecture of this country. We need state police. Anybody that is against state police is telling this country that the country should break up.
But don't you think that this will lead towards state police when it's still in effect?
There is no constitutional empowerment. You have to amend the constitution to enable the state to have state police before you can have state police. What they have now, without constitutional backing, they cannot carry weapons. It's just like this Lagos State neighborhood watch where you see the riding bicycle. Can those people confront insecurity? Can they go and arrest somebody that is holding gun? They cannot. So it's just a waste of time. Let us tell ourselves the truth. In this country, we want state police. And to the northern youth that are lambasting the Southwest Security Agency, I ask them, do the Hizbam in the north, are they equivalent of Boko Haram? The civilian JTF that they told us that that are helping the soldier to fight Boko Haram over there, are they also Boko Haram members? I think these are provocative statements should be stopped in this country. You have this thing in your own place. Very soon, my Kanu, I as a Christian cannot board the same tricycle with a woman, and yet I'm not a Muslim. So you are enforcing your Sharia on people, but you don't want other people to protect themselves. Is that how we are going to run this country? It is high time we told ourselves the truth in this country. If we want to be together, let us be together. If we don't want to be together, let us disintegrate. There is no way in the world you compare people to unite. Unity is by dialogue, is by discussion. It is only in Nigeria that people are being forced to be one, and the reason is because of oil. Take oil from Nigeria, there is nothing called unity. It is the only crude oil that is making us to force ourselves to say we are one, we are one. Why should we be having different laws in some part of the country, but other places can leave themselves porous? Some people will just migrate from anywhere, come out and massacre people and go away. That statement, the SARS should warn that they should withdraw that statement. Nobody is a baby in this country now. Nobody is afraid. The weapons of destruction does not belong to one part of the country. That's a certain part of the country condone and comport themselves. They don't hurriedly kill people. Does not mean that they are weakly. The gentility of a leopard does not confer on a leopard as a lazy animal. It's just because of people they are likely to some extent that they don't just take laws into their hand, kill people anyhow. Nobody have the monopoly of killing. We have to tell ourselves the truth in this country.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank God that you mentioned the word leopard. I was asking around this word AMOTEKUN until I found out that it's actually the Yoruba word for leopard. So I think when we look at the operation, we should look at the animal leopard and see how it operates. Over to you, Emeka Madunago.
No, I think I commend the governors for taking that bold step. It's long overdue because the president, President Muhammadu Buhari, has been passionate about community policing.
Yes.
And if we want to build a secure society, we must go to the grassroots. We must ensure that, we create a conducive environment for people to do business, for investors to thrive and all of that. But I think something is actually missing. You heard the military and the police say they will not be a part of it. Because why? In Lagos State, you have a vigilante group of Nigeria, which has been trained by the DSS, by the military, by the police. They actually helped a lot in dealing with Bado, in Ekpe, in Ikorodu. They did a lot of work. But I don't know why the state government is leaving them out of this arrangement. I don't know why. I mean, I've made inquiries and they're saying that the state government has not even told them anything about AMOTEKUN. Now it's for the state government to come out and tell us why the governor stayed away, one, and then two, why is, I mean, you have a ready vigilante group, registered, trained, so it's so easy, unless there are some political undertones that people are not disclosing to us. In Ogun State, you have the Vigilante Service of Ogun State that has been in operation for some years. They provide security in communities. You have the Nigerian Legion, retired soldiers who provides, security to estates, to communities here and there. And what are we talking about? What else do we need? You already have in different states, you have security trust funds. You have the Lagos State Security Trust Fund. You have Security Trust Fund in Ekiti State. So what it means is that the source of funding shouldn't even be a problem. The federal government is, working also on its own security trust fund, so as to get citizens, because one major component of securing the society is that you must get the citizens to buy into whatever you are doing. You must get the citizens to buy into it. So now, in bringing Operation AMOTEKUN into existence, the governors have shown courage. You saw what happened yesterday on the Kaduna-Gwari Expressway, where an airman was killed, and there are reports that some soldiers were kidnapped. That there were 70 armed criminals that blocked the expressway. They were dressed in military uniform. So what it means is that we cannot continue to fight crime the same way we've done it since 1930, when the Nigerian police force was first, conceptualized. We must now begin to address existential threats, because what we have now is not just about pickpockets at Oshodi bus stop or somewhere. It's not just petty burglaries. We now have crime, criminal acts that threaten the very cohesion of Nigeria, that threaten the very existence of this country. So look at what happened in Plateau State the other day. 12 youths killed. Look at banditry in different parts of the country. The people must be drawn in. So that's why you have the hunters coming in, white tappers coming in, farmers, Agbekoya coming in. Then you also have OPC coming in. What needs to be done is that the governors should sit down with the vigilante group of Nigeria, VGN, sit down with the VSO, sit down with the military, the police. They should all sit down and work out modalities for the successful implementation of the objectives of Operation AMOTEKUN. But for anybody to tell me that scheme, that initiative is wrong, I tell the person, you are behind time. Okay,
Emeka, would you also advocate that, we know that this is for the Southwest region, would you say that the Southeast should also develop their own operation to tackle
insecurity? Of course, we need this community policing. The threats you have in the Southwest, may vary significantly from the kind of threats you have in the South, in the Southeast, Northwest, Northeast, North Central. So what we need is that we must drill down to the sources of these problems. We must not just take the problems, we cannot continue with the current ministry structure of a federal police. We must take these things to the people. So in other words, if traditional rulers are involved in maintaining security, ensuring security. Now, if there is a crime in a certain vicinity, the traditional ruler will be called to question.
Okay.
The trained AMOTEKUN operatives will also be called to question. And let me tell you something. In the criminal code, there is citizen arrest in the criminal code, and it empowers citizens to use minimal force to apprehend suspected criminals. So you cannot, it's not about the VGN, they carry arms, they bear arms. The VSOs, they bear arms. So what are we talking about? Vigilantes in different parts of the country. In Anambra State, you have vigilantes, they bear arms. So let us stop playing politics with our very existence. Let us come together, fine-tune this whole process. We've had a Peace Corps bill, it was shut down. We've had Merchant Navy bill, it was shut down. Because some people feel that, okay, we are the ones in charge of security in Nigeria, so nobody should come and take, food from our mouth. No.
All right.
No. We should advance our thinking beyond those, the issues of the stomach.
Okay, quickly, Steve Aya, do you agree with them, or do you feel that this will still threaten national peace?
Well, they have all spoken well. I agree with them, but I have doubts if whether AMOTEKUN will even succeed.
Why?
The question is very simple. We have different kind of security apparatus around the country.
Okay.
Have we been able to tackle the issue of insecurity? We have not. And the reason is why. The answer is very much on the table, very clear to us. It's just unfortunate that we are not looking at it. How many people are unemployed in this country today? How many people, we just talked about how JAM is maltreating young people just to write exams. Have you talked about the level of unemployed graduates in this country today? Not to talk about the level of unemployed secondary school leavers in the country. Not to talk about primary school. Not to talk about the unemployed, the illiterates. Leave that aside. Come to the issue of sustainable development. How developed are we? You find out that while other countries are beating their chests and telling you that their crime level has come down, ours is going up. The reason why it's going up, I'm sorry to say, our government and our government officials are lazy. They are very, very lazy. They are not thinking. Nobody is thinking in terms of development. Now they are coming to tell us that they are going to recruit people. How many people will they recruit? The video we just showed, how many vehicles? 150. Can 150 police? Can it police the entire Southwest? Let's tell ourselves the truth for once. Before, I'm not against it. It's a fantastic idea. At least some people will get employed. But how many? Look, when the person that says that a hungry man is an angry man, it's a true adage. Because look, some people will get hungry at the end of the day and say, look, what do I do? Okay, that is why a rich man can never live in the midst of poor people, because the poor people will keep buckling his house and collecting until the rich man begins to think of how to help those people get employed. We will continue to fight insecurity. In fact, it will get worse if we don't do anything about it. Since this government came into power, how many jobs have they created? The mega figures, we have created 20,000. We are thinking, is 20,000 equivalent to over 25 million people that are unemployed? See, what we need in this country is to go back to those millennial development goals and begin to work on them. Yes, and begin to work on them and make sure that we have sustainable investment in terms of this. So, because some of these crimes are not really crimes that occur because the person is a criminal.
So it's like poverty-induced crime. It's
poverty-induced criminal. It's poverty-induced criminality. That's what you see. The small guy that will try and steal my phone today, he succeeds in stealing the phone today. He goes and sells it. He comes back again, he succeeds. The next time you say, okay, if I've succeeded in stealing phones, next time let me go upgrade it to laptops. From laptops, he upgrades it to cars. From cars, he now starts entering the road and all those things. It doesn't start today. It's something that has gone on. So while I will comment, I will say, okay, AMOTEKUN is fine, it's welcome, it's a fine development, it's this and that and that. The truth of the matter still remains. Where you have more than 80% of your population in poverty, no amount of security outfit or security apparatus that you will put on ground that will work, because those poor fellows are going to continue to think of how to break those securities, and they will do it. And they will do it with a lot of havoc.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve Aya. Steve Aya has, of course, brought about a very important issue, and he talked about solving the issue, going to the grassroots of why we have insecurity, and he mentioned an important issue of poverty there. So you're saying that the federal government should deal with that while we create other security outfits. Of course, this is where, unfortunately, we'll draw the curtains of today's edition of Editors Forum. Thank you very much, Emeka Madunagu, Steve Aya, and of course, Victor Aya, for your unbiased analysis. Thank you very much for joining us. And of course, our beloved audience, thank you for always being a part of Editors Forum. So of course, do join us same time, same station next week, God's willing, for another edition of Editors Forum. I am Rita Omodia. God bless Nigeria.